just in case. Sorry, it's windy. You don't want to see? Okay. So, I'm going to talk to you about identifying and accepting personal rights. This is important that the whole time we're kind of doing this exercise, you remember that this is in the context of behavior therapy. This is important because sometimes people aren't assertive enough, or you're too assertive in the group therapy setting, and a lot of times that happens because you don't know what rights you have, like when you're allowed to speak up and that kind of thing. So you need to understand that the basic interpersonal right that the individual has is the right to express and act upon their beliefs, opinions, needs, and feelings. And this is as long as you don't violate the rights of others. So it seems kind of self-explanatory, but you have a lot of rights. What you can say, how you can feel, and what you can do, as long as you're not stepping on someone else's rights, as long as you're not, telling them flat out that they're wrong or telling them to be quiet or something like that. So the first thing we're going to do is make a list of some rights that you can think of. I know it's kind of vague and it was kind of hard for me to think of, so I put a few examples right down here. To get angry, to be treated with respect, to try and fail, and to choose not to assert yourself. So if you can think of any, just think of some, write some down. I do have more examples if you can't. I'm just going to give you a second to write some down. Like I said, if not, it's okay, because I have more examples. I'll actually just go ahead and read them. I think that's better. We don't all have pens. Some more rights are to make requests, so you can ask someone to do something for you. You can refuse a request at any time. It's okay to say no. You can disagree and change your mind and make mistakes. You can pursue your own goals and just decide on what happens to you. This reminded me a lot about, it was the last presentation I gave when we talked about the facilitator of a group shouldn't tell you what choice is right for you. You can choose your own path. So step 3 is I want you to pick a right that you've thought of. A personal right, maybe it could be one that I said, or a different one that you thought of. If you can, think of one that you've had problems with. Maybe you don't always feel that you can express your opinion or something like that. And we're going to do a little visualization. So once you've picked your right, I'm going to need you to close your eyes. And I'm going to tell you what to think. I want you to think about a situation or a circumstance in the past that caused you trouble, that has to do with this right. Think about all the details of the situation. And so if you really believe you have this right, what would you do or say differently? So maybe if you didn't think you could express your opinion, how would you do that now? And how would that change the situation or change how you feel about yourself, or maybe how you think about other people? Just think about that for a second. Okay, next I want you to do the same thing, but we're going to think about what it would be like to not have this right. So, how would your interactions with others change if you couldn't express the right? What would be the consequences if you couldn't? How would that make you feel about yourself or other people or the situation? Okay, now I have a list of questions here. You can talk to the person next to you if you want, but go ahead and answer the questions. It'll tell you more to think about. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do that, and then we're going to talk about them and share. Okay? It's okay if you can't write them down. Like I said earlier, I know this is kind of vague, these personal rights, but it's really easier if you think about, therapy settings. You do have these rights other places, but I think that really helps. Just a little bit longer. Okay, does anyone want to share about the ride that they picked? Okay, well, I'm going to ask you guys this then. I thought of a couple questions just thinking about the whole thing. Do you think that your personal rights change based on who you're with? Sometimes.
Especially like in jobs, different jobs, like this kind of goes back to one-way and two-way communication and making a request. With one-way communication, you can't really make a request for something to be changed.
Yeah, that's good. Anybody else?
I don't think they do. Like, there may be consequences to those rights.
I thought a lot of it too. It was hard to think, in expressing your opinion. Like I said, it's just about being assertive or not being assertive, but it's hard to know, being rude. Like you have the right to express your opinion, but I think there's probably a line here because you need to know how to express your opinion. And it doesn't really talk about that in this section, but I thought that was something, there's kind of a happy medium that you have to find in there. And I thought that was really important to remember. Is there anything else anybody thought of?
I think school settings are really difficult because you're setting with somebody who's giving you a grade.
Yeah.
And it's very important to do that, like you just said, do it very respectfully, but it's still okay to just ask why, even as a teacher, I should be able to ask my dean, why am I doing it this way, and get an answer, right? Because just because we've always done it that way isn't really an answer, and if it's violating my rights or the rights of my students, I should stand up for that. Even like you said, if there's consequences.
Yeah.
The thing with that is I think elementary school, some schools the right to assert yourself, they kind of teach and dumb you down to not even think about that because they just spit everything at you and you don't really say anything.
They use behaviorism to condition you not to do that.
Yeah, that's why sometimes when you tell us that we can ask you questions, sometimes we don't.
I know.
Yeah, and then maybe when we do, we take it too far.
Yeah.
We have to find the balance.
Also, people because I know I don't really say much in class sometimes, because in my school we said nothing while the teacher was lecturing at all, or they flipped out, and so now it's you don't really say anything or assert yourself, teacher asks something, this is strange.
Like you set up your own rules to fit, to make it work.
That was some really good points. Like I said, remember, we were talking about this because of behavior therapy. You have to know when to assert yourself.